what is going on with this foundation? Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Carmel, and in today's video we are testing and reviewing the new NYX Make Wonder Soft Matte Foundation. On paper, this could potentially be a disaster for me and my dry skin, but I decided to test it anyway, and I've been testing it so thoroughly, and today I'm ready to share my thoughts. So if that sounds like something that you might be interested in, then please do keep on watching. As I mentioned in the intro, I have dry skin, so I do not gravitate towards matte foundations, and honestly, I don't particularly like the look of matte foundations on my face. So why? I know I can hear you asking, why did I pick this up? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And number two, because I asked my subscribers whether they would want to see it, and they said yes. And number three, because, and I think this is the reason I couldn't stop thinking about it, I have been pleasantly surprised with matte foundations in the past. The Maybelline Lumi Matte being one of them. And when I was reading the description of this, it talked about it being undetectable, being natural, and I thought, I'm going to give this a whirl. So I did. Let's just dive in, take a look at what this foundation claims to be. So the NYX Make Wonder Soft Matte Buildable Foundation retails for €16, and for that you get 30ml of product. It is available in 45 true to skin shades. It is infused with vitamin C from guarana seed extract and hyaluronic acid. This helps to hydrate, brighten, smooth and perfect, feeling weightless on the skin. It claims to be a buildable formula which blends seamlessly for a soft matte finish with fade, transfer, sweat and water resistance all day long. And having checked the ingredients list, there is no niacinamide, yay, no alcohol, it's fragrance free and it's essential oil free. So in terms of the shades, I panicked again, and I feel like my shade choosing is literally getting worse as time goes on, and I actually was so thrown off again by the models. Now, first of all, I do want to appreciate the fact that there are 45 shades to choose from. And if I couldn't choose shades from 45, well, there's a bit of a problem, isn't there? But I felt like the models looked really, really dark. So I did pick a decent shade in the end, but I did pick a shade that was way too light for me because, again, the models, they threw me. But I'm going to swatch these two shades that I picked up. So the one that's not going to be on my face today is this shade Vanilla. And then I picked up the shade Natural, which does work really well for me. I actually could get away with a darker tone, but it's totally fine for now. All my information is always listed in the description box, but I am a neutral olive. So these are both neutral shades. So at the top we have Vanilla, and at the bottom we have Natural. I will include now some daylight swatches with and without a flash against some of my other foundation shades, and hopefully that will help you out a little bit. In terms of the bottle, it looks really small, doesn't it? It looks a lot smaller than a normal foundation bottle, but you still get 30ml, 1 fluid ounce in here. I'm not the biggest fan of the packaging, if I'm honest. I don't mind plastic packaging because I tend to break bottles quite often. I don't really like the squeezy tube. Well, I find it messy, look, as you can see here. But I have wasted a lot of product, so I will often squeeze out too much product. It's very hard to judge how much you need. So yeah, not the biggest fan of the packaging, but yeah, it's fine. Here's the thing. This is designed, I would say, for people with more oily or normal to oily skin. However, this absolutely can work on dry skin. However, you have to prep your skin. Just like somebody who has natural oils coming throughout the day, they have to prep their skin. If you are dry like me, you also have to prep your skin, and just throwing on a moisturizer isn't going to do. So I have prepped my skin already with a milky toner. I've used the Road Glazing Milk today. This works beautifully with this foundation. Obviously it's not drugstore. So the Bubble Cosmic Silk Hydrating Toner works just as well. I've also used the Embryolisse Lip Crème Concentrate. This is like a lotiony type moisturizer. And I would suggest as well, going in with some sort of hydrating primer. Now, I know not everybody likes to use a hydrating primer, and you don't need to use a hydrating primer with this. However, I do like to go in with another level of hydration, and this is my favorite one. This is a Sephora Hydrate and Glow. It's really, 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 really good. And I know it's not drugstore, however, it is affordable. It's probably the same price as a lot of drugstore primers. And so I'm going to prep one side of my face with this. So we'll go in on this side with the primer, and it is just beautifully hydrating, and it will keep your skin hydrated all day long. It's funny because I think some people, well, they question my dry skin and say, well, your skin doesn't look dry. Well, that's because I don't allow it to be. Just because you've got dry skin doesn't mean that you roll over and accept that you have dry skin. You have to work with that dry skin, and that means you have to hydrate it, and a little moisturizer is not going to be enough, especially when you're going in with a matte foundation. So obviously I've done my eye makeup already just to save a little bit of time, but I don't have anything else on my face now. As you can see, my under eyes are not done, nothing. So we'll crack on now with the application. We'll do one side at a time. So we'll go in on this side while we let this primer sit for a little bit. Now on the bottle, it actually says to tap bottom before use. I mean, I don't know why it says to do that. I don't know whether that just shaking it is just fine, but it says to tap the bottom, so we'll do that. So to apply this, I'm going to be using a BK Beauty. This is the A101 contoured foundation brush. Obviously, you can go in with a sponge, but I'm just not a sponge fan. So I'm just not a fan. So this is how much I am putting on my hand before I apply. And you can see there that it's not completely still, is it? There is a little bit of movement there. So it's not super fluid, but it's definitely got a little bit of movement there, which is, for me, a good sign. So this is how I like to apply this foundation. So I like to take it on my finger, and I like to apply, and this is very specific, but I like to apply 4 dots on my face. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And you saw there my rosacea as well that we need to cover. And all I'm going to do is start blending. Now, the one thing I'll say is this dries down quite fast. So I wouldn't be sitting around and waiting for it to dry. Get moving with it. So that was just 4 little dots, and you saw how well that blended out really well. So we're going to go back in again and just kind of dot it across the cheek and blend. And see, the shade's really good actually, isn't it? I'm not bringing this underneath my eyes, because that will be for my concealer. See how quick and easy that blended? And can you see that it's actually not matte? And this is the side that isn't primed. So I would say, I mean, look how little I've applied. I've literally applied like kind of 2 little taps of a finger. And I'm just gonna pop a bit over this area, which is problematic. And just push it in. Now, the more that you put on of this, the more heavy it's going to be. Obviously, that just makes sense. Let me just pop some on over here. And although I would say that it is buildable to a certain extent, I am going to say that I don't think it's the most buildable foundation on the planet. I think you need to be careful with how much you apply of this. I think it's a very full coverage foundation, so I don't think that you need to be applying a ton of it. So that's one side with not even half a pump on, and that's with nothing. Okay, let's do this side now. So just tapping into it. And again, I like to go 1, 2, 3, 4, well, maybe a little bit more because they're not really got much on. And then I just like to start blending. And it blends so beautifully. Now, it's not as, I mean, if you've got the Lumi Matte, it's not as, you know, super blendable as that because it's not as fluid, but it still is beautifully blendable. See that? See how good the colour matches as well? Natural. I aim for the most boring shade name. So if there's a shade name that says beige, I know it's going to be me. Natural, I know it's going to be me. I just know it. And you can see there how it just blended really seamlessly. So nice. I actually don't even feel like I need to build up this side because I didn't really have any rosacea or anything to cover. Look, I'll pop a little bit more on. I think I just need a little bit more on the back of my hand. I think the negative of application for me is just how quick this does dry down. But I haven't run into any problems with that, if that makes sense. It still blends beautifully. I just know I need to work a little bit faster with it. So I'm looking a bit crazy because I don't have my under eyes done, and I will pop some concealer on in a minute just to balance things out. But before I do, I just want you to look at my face with nothing else on my complexion. So this is the primed side with the Sephora primer, the hydrating primer. And this is with no primer. And I really think that it definitely does look a lot smoother on this side. Now, when I look at my face, and every single time that I've worn this, I don't think that it's a matte finish, honestly. I would say that this is more of a soft focus, maybe leaning towards a satin finish. And do you know what? It's really, really lovely. Now, before I pop some concealer on, let's just look at a quick before and after of the foundation. Right, I'm going to just pop some Morphe colour corrector on because I feel like I need that today. I don't know why my under eyes are looking so dark today. This is just my BK Beauty A506 concealer brush. And this is a very hydrating colour corrector. And in terms of the concealer that I like to wear with this foundation, you can see how much that just neutralised my darkness already. I like to wear hydrating type concealers with this foundation. We may as well use the NYX Bear With Me Serum Concealer. This is in the shade Beige. Of course, I'm just going to dip my brush into that little pump. I'm going to go and finish off the rest of my makeup, and I'll come back and take you through quickly what the pros and cons are of this foundation. Okay, so everything I've used on my face today, I will list in the description box below, but really basic today. I just used the Morphe cream bronzer, and I used the NYX Fat Cheeks liquid blush, which is why my cheeks look a little bit glowy and why my complexion is looking glowier. I have no powder on my actual face, just a little bit, teeny weeny bit under my eyes. So let's cut to the chase, and I'll take you through all of the pros and cons, the negatives, the positives of this foundation. And as I'm doing it, I will insert daylight footage for you from when I've been wear testing this. Let's get the negatives out of the way first. The first thing is, if you have significant dryness on your face, as in bits of skin that you can see peeling off, let's say you're using tretinoin or you're using a certain kind of active, there is a high chance that this will cling to it. So I have done some targeted treatments on my rosacea with some azelaic acid in the past week, and I did notice that, and it's very minimal, but I did notice that in the areas where I'd applied the azelaic acid, where it tends to get a little bit dry afterwards, after the treatment, then I did notice a slight clinging to that area. So that's something to bear in mind. And I feel like if you just have the driest skin on the planet, that you never feel looks or feels hydrated, then you should probably skip this one. I also feel like, in my opinion, this foundation dries down quite fast. So obviously you have time to work it in, but it will dry and set down. And so for that reason, in my opinion and personal experience, I don't find it incredibly buildable. Now, I don't think you need to build it up, but that's a different matter. I just don't think it's super buildable if that's what you feel like doing. I do think that the foundation, if you over apply it, it can look heavy in certain areas. So for me, the area would be here, which is kind of weird. Usually if something's too heavy for me, it will sit into my smile lines, but here, this kind of area, if I apply too much. So what I applied today is just the perfect amount for me. I think that gives me enough coverage. It covers everything I need it to. But yes, I think if you have problematic areas on your face and you over apply, it could look heavy. I think if you are not the best at prepping your skin, so if you don't like prepping your skin, whether you have dry skin or not, if you only like to throw on a moisturizer, you'll run into trouble. So failure to prep in this circumstance, it will lead to disaster. And I guess the final negative for me, well, not for me, actually, maybe for you, if you are expecting a complete matte foundation, I don't think you're going to get it. I mean, I've worn this, worn it. I've even worn it with a matte blush and it still looked beautifully luminous. So I think you might be disappointed if you don't want any luminosity on your face. If you want complete matte, I don't think you're going to get it with this. So now let's move on to the positives, because this is where we are going to shine, because I love this foundation. Oh my gosh, I think it's absolutely beautiful. I have honestly been wearing it, and I've been looking in the mirror and looking at my face and thinking, what is going on with this foundation? Because I can't quite believe that it looks this good on my dry skin. It's blurring, it's smooth, it's filtering, it's luminous, it's not dewy and it's not super glowy, but oh my gosh, it makes my skin look so good. I think it gives an amazing amount of coverage. So it is a full coverage foundation in my opinion, but you can tone down that coverage by just applying just quite a minimal amount like I did today. I absolutely love the fact that I don't need to powder this foundation, not a little scrap of it. So it will set down and it will stay there, because believe me, this is transfer resistant, fade resistant. It is not going to budge on your face. It will just continue to look the exact same all day until you take it off. I love that this isn't a flat matte foundation. For me, I would describe it as a beautiful, soft focus foundation that just looks absolutely beautiful. And another positive is how weightless it feels and how hydrating it feels on my skin. I forget that I'm wearing makeup when I have this on. And another positive is that it doesn't contain niacinamide and it doesn't contain denatured alcohol, and there's no fragrance added. Now, although there's no fragrance added, it does still smell like makeup. You know what I mean? It smells like foundation, but there's no fragrance added to it. So the bottom line for me is, I think this would be suitable primarily for people with normal and normal to oily skin. However, I do think that if you are dry like me and you do hydrate your skin and you do prep your skin well, you can still wear this. And I think NYX have done a phenomenal job on this foundation, and thank goodness, because remember this? I know you're wondering why it's not in the bin, aren't you? I hated this. And this, the Buttermelt Glaze, was designed for someone like me with dry skin. Oh, this was so bad. Will I use it every day? Probably not, because I do have to put a bit more time and effort into blending it out so that I don't over apply it. But if I want my makeup to look great all day and I don't want to touch up my makeup all day, then I'm going to be heading for this. This would be great if you were going to a wedding and you don't want to look at your face during the day and touch it up and worry about it sweating off your face. This foundation would tick those boxes. It's absolutely amazing. It really, really is. So I feel like I've covered most things in this video. Do let me know if I've missed anything or if you have any questions. I think it's just worth noting that, look, everybody's skin is different. And just because I've got dry skin and it worked for me doesn't mean it'll work for you with dry skin. In fact, a subscriber did contact me to say, Amanda, hi. She said that she tried the NYX and it looked like clay on her face, is what she said, and she returned it. So it's just worth bearing in mind that we all have different skin. We all prep differently. What works for one isn't necessarily going to work for another. But if you find that you have the same preferences as me, if you've had the same experiences as me, if you feel like we have the same skin, well, not the same skin, but you know what I mean, then you might want to give this a go. I think it's such good value for money. And yeah, I'm still impressed. NYX, what a great start to 2026. I'm delighted with it. And yeah, I'm very, very happy to recommend it as a top tier foundation. This is going straight into my top drawer. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I so appreciate you being here with me. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next video. But until then, take care and bye for now.